Raising startup funds is one of the most difficult things that a founder must do. There are tons of pitch deck guides, templates, and advisors who help founders build a great pitch deck. The most common request I get as a startup coach is to help founders build their pitch. We're publishing this video because we think it's a great example of a real-life founder delivering an investor pitch at a pitch competition. You may think we're biased because we serve as an advisor to the startup, but if you stay through the second half of the video, you'll see the glowing feedback given by the independent pitch judges. We encourage founders to incorporate best practices from this founder's pitch into their own startup story. We'll start by watching the pitch, then hear the comments from the judges, and then we'll close with some specific next steps that you can take to build your own pitch that is just as good as this one. Let's dive in.
Yeah. James, if you would open your deck, share and open your deck, and we'll be good to go.
Absolutely. Let's rock and roll.
All right, go for it.
I'm James, and I'm going to tell you guys about Sift. It's the easiest way to evaluate security vendors. And before I do, this is John. He's an IT director at a credit union. His business needed 24/7 monitoring, and he decided to look at managed detection and response solutions. Now, the problem was he had no idea where to start, and so he built an Excel spreadsheet to track his decision criteria. He was using Google and G2 to try to find vendors that might be able to help him, and he had a really difficult time staying organized with all of the vendor information that he was gathering. So John spent over 4 months distracted from his critical priorities because the process was so confusing. And I helped John with this evaluation, but I couldn't shake this lingering question. And are there more people like John struggling with security evaluations? And so I did what any Steve Blank aficionado would do, and I started interviewing users. I talked to 25 security practitioners, and here's what I learned. It's really, really difficult and time-consuming to find the optimal cybersecurity vendor, especially before taking a demo. No tools exist to help SMBs align their goals and their requirements with vendor features, let alone stay organized throughout the process. They lack the expertise, they're drowning in options, and they struggle with their internal processes managing their individual stakeholders. And so we built a tool that can help make this process a little easier. Our AI consultant initiates a friendly conversation to understand John's security objectives and his requirements. We then analyze the responses and return 3 optimal managed detection and response vendors. At this point, John can open up their profiles, see more information about their customer base and how they map to his compliance requirements, and book a demo in 3 easy steps without ever leaving the platform. Once he's in the sales cycle, John can use our evaluation tracker to stay organized and easily share information with stakeholders at his company. Now, this allows vendors to win deals 3 times faster because we've done a large bulk of the work up front using software. To date, we've conducted 35 user interviews with security practitioners. We've been accepted into Generator's accelerator program, and we've secured $206,000 in pre-seed funding. Now, I didn't do this alone. I definitely didn't get here alone. I spent the last 4 years breaking sales records at 2 MDR startups. Mark spent the last 6 years as a senior data scientist, and Cole has spent the last 7 years as a full stack engineer. And together, we're building a product to serve the massive wave of SMBs that will evaluate MDR over the next few years. On the high level, our TAM is 33 million SMBs in the United States. 46% of cyber attacks are targeting SMBs. So we know this is a massive problem. 10 million US-based SMBs rely on external partners to close their threat detection and response gaps. And 10 million SMBs will evaluate MDR over the next 2 years. It's 10 million businesses just like John's, and we want to make the process a little easier. Now, we're not the only ones that are trying to help SMBs evaluate security solutions. There's IT consultants, there's traditional value-added resellers. John was using a spreadsheet, or Gartner and G2, but we partner the value add of a consultant with innovative technology. Our revenue model is two-legged. We have one-time fees. We charge $1,000 upfront when a vendor accepts a demo with a qualified buyer. Typically, they're spending about $2,000 right now for leads that are frankly unqualified. If they win that business, Sift keeps 20% of the margin and passes along 80% to the vendor, aligning with their go-to-market strategy already. By 2028, we intend to cross the $100 million threshold. That's 2,675 customers at an average contract value of $40,000. To put that in perspective, Arctic Wolf, a leader in the space, has 5,000 customers today, and we'll be working with over 30 vendors just like Arctic Wolf to help those 10 million SMBs find the right partner. Our exit strategy is an acquisition by a large VAR like CDW, probably in the next 4 to 6 years, and we don't intend to raise past the seed round. So we intend to have minimal dilution for our early investors.
James, you're out of time. Just go ahead and speak to this real quickly.
Perfect. Last slide. We're seeking $200,000 in additional funding to hit $500,000 in revenue by April 1st, 2024. I'm out of time. But sorry I was talking so fast. I tried to get a lot in.
That's okay. I have to say, this is not feedback time. That was the prettiest deck I've ever seen.
Thank you.
It was so clean, so few words. But questions?
Great. Hi, James again. So I was thinking while we were going through your very beautiful slides about the market.
Adrian?
Yeah, I love your presentation. I think you were super clean. As I said, I'm happy to touch base after this just because I know potential partners that would, that have lined up already that might be in the perfect spot.
Brandon?
Good job, James. I think Max said it. You have a very pretty deck. You went last, and it's kind of hard to go last when people's attentions are starting to fall off a little bit, but you had really good energy. And I think you have a good business too. I mean, you're doing a lot of the things that we want to see. I mean, you're talking to your customers, you're doing the early stage hustling, getting out there in front of, people who are going to be potential buyers of your product. You're already starting to get them on board as you're building. You're using the feedback from them to continue to iterate and evolve. I think, that's all the good stuff that we want to see. I'd say, we should connect after, and, you should apply. And see if we can help you or maybe invest in you. And, I think just keep up, man. Keep it up.
Cool. Tony, wrap it up for us, please.
James, you know what? I'm glad that you're the guy I get to go last on and you're the last guy to go. Because while Max and several others said that you had very pretty slides, I will say the scores we give at this point are not necessarily about the business, they're about the presentation. And presentations of this type sort of have certain elements that are required. It's like putting together a recipe for anything. Like you got to have the cardamom and the other pieces. And I think you did a really good job of sort of addressing those pieces. You didn't, your slides weren't overly distracting. You didn't use jargon where you didn't have to. You sort of laid out the problem fairly clearly. You gave a sense that you had a pretty good, clearly defined use case that you were addressing. You had a good sense that you had a clearly defined customer that you were addressing, where you could answer the question of what does my profile look like? It's this many people to this many people, sort of my sweet spot. And so all of those buttons, I think you pushed in exactly the right ways because we could sort of see that there's this business.
Okay, let's vote on the last company, please.
No worries. Thank you. It's a score of 17.
Okay. James, don't go away. If you're still there, we're going to bring you out in a minute. But Jacob, please read the scores off.
Yeah, we have Foodum with 12, Edge Foods and III both with 7.5, Mystery on Main with 7, Wild Venture with 10, and Sift AI with 17.
Okay, well, congratulations. Thanks to all the companies to present. We want to bring James back, who won first place, and Renetta, if she's still here, bring her back because we've got a second place award for her as well. James, tell us about your experience here today. What you thought of this of Pitchforce?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. One of my advisors, Sam Wong, was adamant about us, pushing forward and getting out and pitching people. And so the feedback was absolutely invaluable. And I'd love to connect with each and every one of you after this and just have a deeper conversation.
Great. That can happen. And Sam is one of our favorite people. So
I was going to say, I know Sam.
Yeah. And I don't know where you were when you started with Sam, and maybe you didn't have to come that far, but the end product is fantastic. So congratulations. And we'll connect you with everybody. You get contact information for everybody tomorrow.
Hopefully, you can see why this founder's pitch really stands out. There's a compelling story. Everyone understands what the startup is doing. The slides are clean and clear. James, the founder, hits all the major topics investors want to hear. Investors can see how the typical threats to a startup success have been or are being mitigated. If you want to replicate the success of this pitch when you raise funds from investors, then you'll want to check out 2 of our pitch deck training classes. First is a class on pitch deck storytelling. Great pitches are about stories. This class dives deep into the mechanics of storytelling with 200 slides and multiple examples to help you tell a great story. Second is a class on pitch deck slides and de-risking. Most founders blindly fill in the blanks on a pitch deck template that they downloaded from the web, which almost never works. Instead, founders should focus on the 5 sections of the pitch: opportunity, market, traction, financials, and uniqueness. Then, custom tailor the slides in each section to build a story that flows about how you've de-risked your startup. There are links to both classes in the description. We hope this video and the classes we've listed help you raise funds for your startup.